Fox Sports.
We are Buffalo. We are Ohio.
For better than 3 decades, Dusty Baker and Tony La Russa have been rivals. But over the last 2 seasons, that rivalry has escalated into one of the best in all of baseball.
You are not my friend, so don't touch me.
Batting second, number 4, second baseman Brandon Phillips.
And a base hit to right. They're going to wave around Isaac. Here comes the throw. Reds win. Reds win. Reds win. Is this the dagger? 2-run double, Brandon Phillips. Two-run game, 2-2 pitch. Struck him out, and the Reds have swept the Cardinals in a 3-game series for the first time since 2007.
Soap opera continues, between these guys. So it's always something when you come in here.
A broken bat infield hit drives in the game's first run. You've got to be kidding. In the air, left center field. Did he? Did he? He did! He did! He did! Red win! Red win! Reds win! Steamy Sunday in Cincinnati, and with all that has taken place over the last couple of years, here we are in the rubber game of this 3-game series with the Cowboy Jeff Brantley. I'm Tom Brenneman. Great to have you with us, and all the drama so far this year. This is a big one today.
It really is, Tom, and this rivalry, some say in baseball it may be the biggest rival in baseball. The rubber match is today, and it will continue as the season goes on.
When we come back, we'll talk about today's starting pitchers. Homer Bailey against Jaime Garcia. Reds and the Cardinals coming up.
case, it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Steamy Sunday here in Cincinnati. For more on our weather throughout the day, let's check in with Jeff Creighton.
Well, it's another hot one down at Great American Ballpark today. Very similar to yesterday. We'll see that first pitch. Temperatures in the upper 80s by the 7th inning. Mid-80s or so. That final out, we should still be right around 80 degrees. And once again, we are running the chance of an isolated shower or thunderstorm through the game. Go Redlegs.
How about Homer Bailey, Cowboy?
Well, I think if Homer Bailey comes out today throwing strikes, which I believe that he will, especially after the 4 days off, this could be an awfully good day for the Reds. That power fastball up in the strike zone, especially with the Cardinals chasing that ball up, could really give him a lot of strikeouts early in the game.
Bailey gunning for win number 4. He'll be opposed by 9-game winner Jaime Garcia. Decisive game of the series coming up next. Finale of this 3-game series, the Reds winning in thrilling fashion. A home run by Brandon Phillips in the bottom of the 9th inning on Friday night. And the Cardinals behind Chris Carpenter, again Albert Pujols, in a 4-1 decision last night. So Ryan Theriot against Homer Bailey. Game on in Cincinnati, and the first pitch fouled out of play, strike one, and we're underway. Look at the numbers on Bailey. He started so impressively, Cowboy, has cooled off a little bit since.
Well, I think part of that is the interruption and having to go back on the disabled list. But I think with the 4 days off, getting things back together, this should be an awfully good start for Homer Bailey here in the second half.
Breaking ball, he just got away from him. 1 ball and 1 strike on Theriot, a .285 batter with a home run and 32 runs batted in. Theriot got the night off last night. They started Daniel Descalso at shortstop. And Descalso moving from short over the third base in the Cardinal lineup here today. Off the end of the bat, fly ball that'll back up Johnny Gomes, and that's the first out of the day. Well, the Cardinals, in fact, have made a lineup change. Descalso was in a lineup at third, and they make the late scratch. Rasmus coming up, followed by Pujols. Holiday, Berkman, and Freese in the middle. A latter third of Cruz. Again, the pitcher batting 8th, and Schumacher, the second baseman, batting 9th. I don't know about you, Cowboy. I'm a little surprised not to see John Jay back in that lineup today. I'm sure there are a lot of Cardinal fans that are very much like the Reds fans are right now in regard to, the left field spot.
Chris Heisey not playing for the Reds, and John Jay not playing for the Cardinals.
Jay, a critical part of that Cardinal win last night, had 3 hits in the game, had the bunt single in front of the Pujols 3-run home run in the 5th.
That was big.
Now, of course, he knocked in a run later in the game with a single against Bronson Arroyo in the 7th to make it a 3-run lead.
See those 2 last breaking balls from Homer Bailey to a fastball hitter like Colby Rasmus. He sees fastball and the bottom drops out of it, and the bat goes with it. That is going to be critical for Bailey all day long. Boy, good night, Irene.
That takes care of Rasmus for the 2nd out of the inning. We look at the Reds defensively, presented by Ford in left field today, Johnny Gomes. Stubbs coming off a good game in center, Jay Bruce in right. Cairo for Roland at third, and Zach Cozart back in the lineup after a night off last night with a battery of Bailey and Ryan Hannigan. Well, Pujols has been Pujols in the series. When his team has needed him most, he has been there to deliver. Had the single to start the 3-run rally when they came from behind in the 7th inning on Friday night. Of course, hit the 2-run home run to give him the lead again in the 8th inning off of Aroldis Chapman. And then last night, 2 on, 2 out, his team down 1-0. His only hit in the game, the decisive hit in the game, a 3-run laser over the left field wall. 2-1 on Pujols.
Well, in the last few starts for Bailey, his stuff as far as his physical pitching has been fine. The mental issue is what has gotten him into trouble.
Now, what do you mean by that?
Something happening on the field of play, whether an error, whether it was a misjudged ball, something that just didn't go quite the way that he wanted it to go, and he let it affect him. And he let it affect him in a big way, because the next hitter or two hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Over the mound, Phillips is there, and a 1-2-3 start for Homer Bailey. Reds coming up, bottom of the 1st inning.
Home, life, and banking get to a better state. By your local Ford dealer. Ford, drive one. By the Regional Tourism Network. Book your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Whenever you're feeling good and hungry, it's Skyline time.
Take a look at Dusty Baker's starting lineup today. Drew Stubbs in center, Zach Cozart at short, Joey Votto at first, Brandon Phillips in the cleanup spot, Johnny Gomes in the 5-hole in left, and Jay Bruce against the lefty dropped to number 6. A ladder third to Miguel Cairo, Ryan Hannigan, and Homer Bailey against one of the most talented young left-handers in all of baseball, Jaime Garcia.
Well, you said it, Tom. The more we see him, it seems like the better he gets. The only Achilles heel he's had thus far this year is his road record. 3-2 on the road with a 5.67 earned run average. So let's hope that works in the favor of the Reds today.
Garcia has never lost to the Reds in his career. A 5-0 record. The ERA is very, very misleading. It's about 4.3. Not that that's terrible, but most of that is inflated because of his first year in the major leagues against the Reds. And there's a base hit by Stubbs, who yesterday arguably had one of his better games, if not his best game, with the Reds so far this season. He had 3 hits, was on base 4 times, including a walk.
Well, you and I had talked about it in the first game when Heisey was playing center field, and whether that was just because Westbrook was pitching or whatever it may be. But if it's perceived as competition, it can only make guys better.
Well, now Zach Cozart, what a start to his young major league career. Our Farmers Insurance report card. What's he done? Well, he has a hit in every game he's played in the big leagues.
That ain't bad.
Not bad at all. 8 hits in his first 21 major league at bats. He got his first RBI in game 1 of this series. And you know, although everybody will remember and talk about the Brandon Phillips home run that won the game on Friday night in the bottom of the 9th, Cozart got on base, allowing Phillips to come to the plate in the inning.
Amen. You don't get that hit, Phillips never gets a chance.
Stubbs 23 out of 29 in stolen base attempts.
And I would imagine that the Reds will test out Tony Cruz early in the ball game to find out whether this kid can throw like Molina or not. Not too many can.
3-0 now on Zach Cozart. And there's a strike. We talked about Garcia's first year in the major leagues, and it's certainly easy to forget. This young man was a highly touted prospect going all the way back to 2008. And that's when they originally brought him to the major leagues. But then he had a serious arm injury requiring surgery and basically missed a year and a half before coming back and pitching so brilliantly for the Cardinals last year. The 13-game winner was Garcia a season ago with an ERA of 2.70. That is doing it.
It's amazing that he's able to both cut the ball in on the right-handers away from the left-handers and still keep the velocity, and he's got that changeup that he's really starting to perfect.
Runner goes, and it's popped up. Stubbs will have to hurry back to first base as the second baseman Schumacher goes out to get it, and that's a comeback at bat there for Garcia after getting ahead 3-2. We're getting behind 3-0, got it back to 3-2 and gets the out. The Cardinals on defense are presented by Ford. Holiday, Rasmussen, Berkman in the outfield. Freeze, Theriot, Schumacher, Pujols third to first. And a rare off day for Yadier Molina. Tony Cruz hanging the signs for Garcia. 1 on, 1 out for Joey Votto.
Tom, we said this at the beginning of this series, that the Reds, the more times they can put the ball in play and test out this Cardinal defense, especially on the infield side, the better opportunities they'll have to score. And so far that has held true.
The roller down to Pujols. He'll take a look down at second and take the out behind him. So Votto retired. In scoring position is Stubbs. There are 2 outs and Brandon Phillips coming up. All of the errors that the Cardinals have committed, and there have been 4 of them in the first 2 games of this series. All 4 have been committed by the infield, including the 1 throwing error by Carpenter last night. But 2 at third, 1 at short, and a throwing error by Carpenter, which helped lead to a run in the game here last night, the only Reds run. Now Phillips. Strike 1.
I think that's one of the reasons that you really have to grind out every at bat against a pitcher like Garcia. He stays around the plate. He's going to cut the ball in, cut it away. And you're not going to get some big cookies from him. You're not going to be able to come out of your shoes with a swing. This is more of a guy that you shoot the other way or you drive the ball right back up the middle, as we saw Stubbs in the first at bat of the ball game.
Garcia quickly ahead of Brandon Phillips in no balls and 2 strikes. Brandon at 286, 9 home runs, 51 runs batted in. Getting over. A leadoff single by Stubbs. He's left in scoring position, and the 1 no score. Are brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Boy, the Reds have been packing them in here to Great American Ballpark, and we thank all the fans for doing so. 6 of the last 8 have been sellouts. And really, you go back over the last 3 homestands, and the Reds are averaging nearly 37,000 fans per game. And now, Cowboy, the team needs to start revving it up and moving on up in the standings inside the National League Central.
Well, when you get crowds like the Reds have been getting, you want to give them something to come back for. Today would be a good day to keep them coming back.
Breaking ball, strike 1 on the first pitch to Matt Holliday. We begin the 2nd inning of a scoreless game, and really that next homestand, and you and I were talking about this last night, couple of hours before the game, looking at the Reds' schedule from now through the end of July, and outside of the 3-game series that begins tomorrow night in Pittsburgh, the Reds are going to be home the rest of this month. 13 of their first 16, 20 of their first 29 following the break will be at home, but they're playing very, very good competition on the next homestand. 2 of the top teams in all of baseball, and a 3rd team that's been playing very well of late. You've got the Atlanta Braves next weekend, Friday, Saturday, and don't forget Sunday night. You have the Mets in for 4 3-night games and a day game, and they've been playing a lot better after a terrible start. And then, of course, the defending world champion Giants, who lead the National League West, come in for a 3-game series. Giants have opened a 3.5-game lead. In fact, they had upped it to 4.5 before losing last night, coupled with an Arizona win. Atlanta 3.5 behind Philadelphia in the East, and the Mets are a game over 500. There's a check swing and a miss, and boy, that's nasty stuff, and that back to Holiday from Homer Bailey.
Well, you know that this Cardinal club looks fastball first, and this is an awfully good slider down and away. 2 pitches in that at bat. You see this almost a half-hearted swing by Matt Holliday trying to shoot the fastball the other way.
Four batters, 2 strikeouts for Homer Bailey, and here's Lance Berkman. Ball 1.
This back-to-back pitch is awfully close to Berkman.
2-0 on Berkman. And that ball is clobbered to straightaway center field, and it's a 1-0 St. Louis lead.
Looked like a backdoor breaking ball that just gets out over the plate, and that's exactly what it was, and Berkman torched it.
Of course, Berkman did that for so many years here at Great American Ballpark. In fact, among all visiting players on all other teams in the major leagues, Berkman and Pujols have the most home runs in this ballpark among all visiting players that come into Cincinnati. That's a second out of the inning. Now, it's really amazing to think that Berkman and Holliday have virtually made 0 noise in this series. In fact, that's the first RBI for either one of them in now 2 games and 1 turn through the batting order. And yet the damage that Pujols has inflicted on you has just been so instrumental in either the Cardinals coming from behind to take a lead and giving it up late on Friday night, or falling behind early and then taking the lead on a 3-run home run by Pujols here last night.
This Cardinal club definitely has some thunder in the middle of that lineup. 20 home runs on the top of Matt Holliday, 24, now 25 on the bottom of him, and Holliday sitting at 14 himself. Now the rest of the lineup, somebody else can speak for him.
0-2 the count on Tony Cruz, and he is taken care of on 3 pitches, but damage inflicted here in the second on a Berkman home run to give St. Louis a 1-0 lead. Chat with our Hall of Fame baseball writer Hal McCoy, and plus he'll share a story about Hall of Famer Whitey Ford, former Yankee great. That's brought to you by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and safeauto.com. Then right after the game, Boys in the Hall featuring Whitey Ford will come your way after Reds baseball right here on Fox Sports Ohio. A Lance Berkman home run in the top of his second inning, the only run of the game. Reds coming to bat against Jaime Garcia here in the second. Johnny Gomes, Jay Bruce, Miguel Cairo coming up.
Well, Gomes is in the lineup today. Hopefully that he will catch one pitch sometime today and hit it out of the ballpark.
First pitch swinging in this at bat to begin the inning, and that's a bouncing ball at Schumacher. 1 pitch and 1 out for Garcia. Now Jay Bruce at 267, 21 home runs and 57 runs batted in.
After seeing how Trevor Miller pitched Jay Bruce yesterday with the bases loaded, I would imagine that is exactly how Garcia will go after him each and every time today. Fastballs in off the plate or at his hands, and breaking balls starting in the middle of the plate and breaking down and away.
Pulled foul. Jay will get a new piece of lumber, and we get a chance to take a look at the National League Central Division standings presented by Honda. Milwaukee had an unbelievable rally late last night against Colorado to win that game by a run. The Pirates, a rare loss, got beat by the Astros, so there you get a look. The Reds 4 back, Cardinals all alone at the top, but still just 4 games separating those top 4 teams. And of course the Reds will visit the Pirates for the first of a 3-game series in Pittsburgh beginning tomorrow night. Cardinals have an off day tomorrow. Tell you, the schedule makers have certainly not been kind to the Cardinals, and the Reds went through a similar pattern 2 years ago. The Cardinals right now are starting their 4th 3-city road trip of the year.
Maybe that's why they didn't make them play the Red Sox or the Yankees.
Good point. Remember when the Reds had that? What was that, 2 years ago? I think it was.
It was miserable.
And if I'm not mistaken, all of it was roughly at the exact same time where the Cardinals were. Before the end of July, the Reds had gone on 4 3-city road trips. Pulled foul. Told you they have an off day tomorrow. Then they'll take on the Mets Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then the trip culminates with a 3-game series against the Pirates at PNC Park. Three and 2 on Jay Bruce.
It's pretty good at bats so far by Bruce. He's been able to either lay off the breaking ball down and away, or at least spoil the pitch where it did not get him out.
Another broken bat. That's 2 of them during this at bat. At least it sounded like it. Bruce taking a look at it, and apparently it's still intact.
Reds fans, if you're in the restaurant industry, let JTM Food Group help you with great tasting products for your menu. Inspired solutions, better results. That's JTM.
Little flare in a shallow left center field, and coming on to get it is Matt Holliday, and they're 2 away in the inning.
Even though that's an out in that at bat, that's a quality at bat for Jay Bruce, especially against a pitcher like Garcia. You're fouling off pitches to the left side, to the right side, pitches away, pitches in. sooner or later that ball's going to find some grass, or it may find some seats out there in right center field.
So 2 up, 2 down, and here comes Miguel Cairo getting the start at third base today for Scott Rowland. A .291 batter with 3 home runs and 17 runs batted in. See what Cairo has done of late. This time a grounder. Freeze picks it up, throws a strike to Cairo, and a 1-2-3 second for Jaime Garcia. We go to the third with the Cardinals leading 1-0.
I mean, we like his speed, we like his range. He has some sock. You know, he's going to be a good hitter, we feel, because he's gotten better. You know, last year in AAA, he hit 253 in AAA, and this year he hit 300, so that's showing progress. And, you know, still got a few things to learn, but, you know, we'll bring him along. We think he's going to be a fine player.
Zach Kozar to hit in which he has played every game so far, and that includes coming off the bench where he got a base hit. 0 for 1 today, and the Reds are trailing 1-0 as Jaime Garcia batting in the number 8 spot will lead it off, to be followed by Schumacher and then the leadoff man Ryan Theriot. Homer Bailey has only allowed 1 base runner. Unfortunately for Homer, that particular runner touched all 4 bases. Kozar charging on the 2-hopper with time, throws out Garcia to begin the 3rd inning. And we invite you to get ready for every single game of Reds baseball 30 minutes ahead of time. Our Emmy Award-winning rendition of Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio. And it's presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Tomorrow be coming your way again at 6:30 tomorrow night. Dontrell Willis will take the ball against right-hander James McDonald of the Pirates. Reds Live 6:30. Game coverage begins at 7. And a special treat for you tomorrow night. George Grant coming back into the broadcast booth to be joined by Sean Casey. There's a base hit into left field by Schumacher.
Even hitting in the number 9 spot, Schumacher is dead red fastball regardless of who's on the mound. I don't know that you can throw it hard enough to get it by that guy. It's just always sitting fastball. It doesn't matter if it's 2 strikes, no strikes.
0-1 to Ryan Theriot. He flied out to Johnny Combs leading off the ball game.
This is where Homer has really got to make sure that he gets his front hip turned before he comes playward. You saw the first pitch to Theriot that missed well outside. When you're in your first time out of the stretch, you got to make sure you do it the right way. Pitchers have a tendency to jump and not keep their weight back, especially with a runner at first base that can run.
Phillips plays it on a short hop, and that turns into a double play.
That was a Gold Glove play right there. He could have caught that in the air, took it in the short hop.
That's a mental Gold Glove play.
Yes, it is.
During today's game, Ron Ball of Cincinnati, who currently drives a 2010 Corolla, would win the beautiful new Tundra on display each and every day here at Great American Ballpark. And guess what? You can register for your chance to win in an upcoming game. Just stop by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. 8-9-1 in the Reds batting order against Jaime Garcia here in the third. Reds trailing 1-0 in the rubber game of this three-game weekend series. It'll be quite a while before these two teams convene again. So any chance you have to make up ground against a team in front of you inside the standings, you got to make it happen when you have those chances. The Reds and Cardinals only have 3 more games against one another this year. And that'll be over Labor Day weekend, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of September in St. Louis. Cardinals don't come back here again.
It's almost how last year was. It seemed like the Reds were counting on other teams to beat the Cardinals.
Freeze in front of Theriot. Will throw out Hannigan for the first out. Well, a privilege today to have our broadcast air on AFM, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving in 175 countries around the world and aboard ships at sea around the world. They're watching today in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, and Japan. We welcome you to the broadcast We hope you enjoy the game, and more importantly, God bless you and thank you for all your service.
Amen on that one. All those guys are watching us. Sweet.
You know, now I'm sure a lot of them, you know, they have different sort of shifts times inside the military.
Right.
You know, whether they're at sea or whether they're on the ground. And so there are probably a few of them getting a little snoozing in.
I bet they have a little bit of rivalry on some of those ships with the Cardinals and the Reds after all.
I bet you're right.
After all that fighting going on. Fighting between the Reds and the Cardinals, I mean.
Well, the guys, the pregame show guys on the NFL on Fox, when they went over, and, you know, they've never revealed where the base is because that's what you have to do. But somewhere not far from Afghanistan, when they went over there last year, and there were some guys on the crew that made that trip as well. Chris Myers, our good friend who you see on Fox, NASCAR coverage, NFL coverage. He said he's never experienced anything like it. And of course, it was Fox that built that brand new mess hall over there. That is just a spectacular place for all of those serving to go in and get something to eat. There's a ground ball to short. They have big screen TVs they put up everywhere so they can go in there when they have the chance. And, you know, watch ball games, football games,
Fox
baseball
built
games.
it?
Fox built the entire thing.
That's pretty cool.
Over 10,000 square feet.
Huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It's big league.
Real big league. And that's where they went over and did that NFL on Fox Sunday pregame show 1 week during the season last year. And I'm sure they have something planned again this year.
Let's hope we have a big league game to give you today.
Drew Stubbs singled into center field. He's the only Reds base runner against Garcia so far in the game today. He wound up being stranded at second base. Garcia has retired 8 in a row since. Is laced into left center field. This will be extra bases for Drew Stubbs. And he's 2 for 2 today. And Cowboy, all of a sudden, yesterday and today, he looks like the kind of guy the Reds expect him to be.
Well, when you come to the plate with the game plan to shoot the ball the other way, the pitches that hang up in the strike zone, you're able to get the fat part of the bat to because you're not jumping towards the pitcher. It looked like Stubbs was nice and relaxed there, and then all of a sudden, bam, there you go. Hanging breaking ball, goodbye.
Drew Stubbs safe at second base, safe and secure. New York Life. Well, let's see if Kozar can get him in and tie this baby up. Cardinals leading 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd inning on a very steamy Sunday afternoon. We had such beautiful weather starting Wednesday and right on through the weekend up until you got up this morning, you went out to get the newspaper or walk the dog or whatever it is you might do early in the morning, and you could tell already it was going to be one of those days. Now you're getting a little bit of a break from time to time where you have cloud cover, and there's plenty of that up there, but when the sun comes out, as it's starting to a little bit right now, see a lot of that going on.
I think there was a lot of sun over the top of my roof while I was sleeping this morning.
Really? You don't like those day games much, do you, Cowboy?
I'm not a big day game guy. I like night games.
1-2 on Zach Kozar. And it's off the inside corner to even the count.
And I don't know why. I pitched better during the day.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I was bitter when I went out there. I was madder than a wet hornet by the time I got to the mound.
drilling guys. Let that slider off.
Well, now, but I'm a little surprised by the question I asked you when you had said to me earlier today, I just don't like day games. And I said, so you would have been a very good Cub. And you said, no, one of my worst years with the Giants is when they started playing all the day games. But you pitched better during the day.
I know. But not that year. That year was a little ugly. That's what got me over here to the Reds. Of course, higher powers let them be. Oh, my goodness, that was off the plate.
Well off the plate. Mike Everett rings up Kozar. And it's 1-0 at the end of 3. St. Louis in front.
JTM Food Group, proudly serving America's restaurants, schools, retailers, and our military around the world. JTM Food Group. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Sonic, America's drive-in. It's new, it's better. It's the new Sonic Good.
We played 3 innings, and it's a 1-0 St. Louis lead. And Cowboy, I was talking about that mess hall bar. Look at that. That's the one that was built overseas by Fox. A Fox skybox. Pool tables, video games, a whole setup for our soldiers. And that part overseas who are over there fighting.
Pool tables. I could pick up a little spare change.
I think you might run into a pretty good player or two over there. What do you think?
I don't care.
Colby Rasmus, let's say fly ball down the left field line, and Johnny Gomes able to track it.
Tell you what, Mike Everett is being awful stingy on the fastball that is away from Homer Bailey, especially to the left-handers. That first pitch to Rasmus looked like it was a strike. The first pitch to Berkman when he hit the home run looked like it was a strike.
Albert Pujols bounced out his first time up to the second baseman Brandon Phillips. This ball is crushed into right center field, but not enough. He hit it hard, but didn't square it up, and Bruce in front of the track able to corral it. He hadn't played that way. 3 pitches to get 2 outs for Homer Bailey, and he's thrown just 32 pitches in the game, and here we are with 2 away in the 4th inning. Matt Holliday struck out his first time up. And Homer rocks, kicks, and delivers. Ball 1 away. 1-1 on the Cardinal left fielder. And it's swung on and fouled back out of play. And it's 1-2 Bailey against Holiday.
I just like the fact that Homer gets straight back up onto the rubber, gets the sign from Hannigan, and tries to execute the pitch. Keep the ball down on these guys, and if you do elevate, get it up there high.
Wow. Is that the pitch you were talking about a little while ago? You were talking, I think, more specifically to a left-handed batter, but that was still a fastball away.
That pitch looked pretty good right there. I mean, borderline. I mean, it could go either way.
Well, it was a lot better pitch than the pitch that was called strike 3 on Zach Kozar.
Yeah, the pitch for Kozar was a joke.
Two now on Matt Holliday. And they bury him in with a fastball, and Holliday fouls it off.
Here's the pitch to Zach Kozar. Look where this is. Now you see how far that was out? The pitch to Holliday was right on the corner.
I think Jaime Garcia was surprised that was a called strike 3 just based on his reaction.
Yeah, he didn't go off the mound like the rest of our infield did.
Line into center field, a base hit.
And if you're Homer Bailey in that situation, you put the ball right on the corner and you don't get the call, well, then you've got to move the ball back towards the plate. That ball's middle away there. You can't take another risk of shooting the ball out there on the edge if you're not going to get the call.
Now you face Berkman with a runner aboard. Berkman homered on a 2-0 pitch to straightaway center field for the game's only run. Berkman home run number 25. Now he has really cooled off when you consider where he was sitting roughly about the middle of June. Nonetheless, the numbers are still very, very impressive for Berkman. And Cowboy, you touched on it last night. If there's been a better offseason acquisition for any team in the major leagues than the Cardinals' acquisition of Berkman, I'd love to be reminded on what player that might be.
Yeah, me and you both. The thing for Berkman right now that I've noticed is he's hitting breaking balls better right now than he did at the beginning of the season, and he's a tad tardy on the fastballs unless they're in situations like this.
And when we're talking about the acquisition of the Cardinals picking up Berkman, I think you and I are almost exclusively talking about among all National League teams. Of course, the one guy who's been the biggest impact player in the game, arguably so far this year, was the acquisition of Adrian Gonzalez coming over to the Boston Red Sox.
I agree.
But we don't see the American League. There might be another player or two over there that all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, forgot about that guy. We see the National League teams almost exclusively. That's a good pitch here by Bailey. Got Berkman to roll over it, and that'll retire the side. Homer looking good. Offense needs to get to work. out of Great American Ballpark, sponsored by Dove Chocolate. The first 10,000 ladies through the gates receive an exclusive Joey Votto Girls Night Out t-shirt. Then you enjoy chocolate dipping fountains, free massages, drink specials, a lot going on in the fan zone beginning at 5:40 in the afternoon. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com today. Reds come to bat here in the bottom of the fourth inning, trailing Jaime Garcia and the St. Louis Cardinals by a 1-0 score. 1-1 to Joey Votto. He grounded out to his counterpart his first time up. Driven into deep right center field, and Rasmus will not get there in time, and Votto will pull up with a leadoff double.
Got the curveball, the same exact pitch on the first pitch of that at bat, and it bounced in front of home plate. This time it just rolled up there. And Votto still moving forward a little bit, but you keep your hands back, and that's what allows him to come through that baseball with just hands and wrist and jerk that baby into the right center field gap.
Phillips. Started two, they appeal, and nothing doing, says Chris Guccione over at first base. Ball one on Brandon.
And now, as a hitter, you have to know that Garcia is going to pound you inside to keep you from hitting the ball to the right side and advancing the runner to third base with no outs.
When you take a look at where Pujols plays, it's not so much where he's positioned as far as left to right, but forward and back. He's brought in a good solid, 2, 3, 4 steps. He is such an aggressive defender over at first, and if a ball is hit very hard right at him,
he'll do what Brandon Phillips did yesterday and cut down Carpenter at third. All three pitches have been inside thus far to Brandon Phillips.
And there's another one. Again, he starts, and again they appeal, and again no, says Mr. Guccione. Votto starts things off with his team trailing 1-0 with a double here in the bottom of the fourth inning. And now at the very minimum, Phillips trying to advance Joey on to third base. Of course, he'd love to knock him in. 2-2 on Phillips. There's a pitch left out over the plate. They were set up inside, and Brandon fouled it back.
Well, it looked like Garcia tried to overthrow that fastball. But Cruz is definitely setting up inside. He sets up away as Brandon Phillips comes to the plate, so Phillips can see him out of the corner of his eye outside. And as the pitch starts to come to home plate, Cruz slides right up underneath the back hip of Brandon Phillips.
High fly ball straight away center field. Rasmus still drifting, and he got it. What a play by Rasmus. And Votto will tag up and advance on to third base. That is an outstanding play made by Rasmus and a good job by Phillips.
Also good base running by Joey Votto. He didn't get too far off the bag where he couldn't tag and get to the plate. Well, you're talking about an over-the-shoulder catch. But watch Votto here. If Votto gets too far off the bag here, he can't tag. He starts to go, realizes he's going to make the catch. He gets back in a hurry, tags the bag, and gets right onto third base. I don't care how you get him to third, you just get him to third. Now it's up to Gomes to get him in.
And the Cardinals, outside of a ground ball hit right at either corner infielder, are conceding the run up the middle. So Johnny Gomes has to put this ball in play. And a breaking ball is on the outer edge for a strike. Gomes grounded out on the very first pitch of the second inning to the second baseman Schumacher.
Well, the first pitch was a changeup. Votto or Gomes not expecting that. Everything else is going to be hard. You can see the second baseman Schumacher right as the right foot of Garcia comes up. He breaks into the grass at second base. If nothing else, it may grab the eye of the hitter.
A little bit low, 1 ball and 2 strikes on Johnny Gomes, trying to tie this game up. He has a runner at third with 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Gomes penciled in the starting lineup. Dusty Baker still believing that Gomes will get things going here in the second half of the season. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. That really continues to be a wild card position out there in left field as to when you get to the ballpark who is going to be in the lineup.
Round robin. Well, you had to know that curveball was coming sooner or later, and that was it. And it looked like Garcia held on to it just a tad too long.
Now, I would assume, Cowboy, he may come right back with that same pitch again. He's gotten a lot of right-handed batters of the Reds over the last couple of years to chase that pitch, and they look ugly when they swing at it.
You're exactly right. I mean, when he got Gomes to swing at it earlier in this count, it was ugly.
Jaime Garcia has never lost to the Reds. 5-0 coming into the game. And he has struck out Johnny Gomes for the second out of the inning.
And right back with the curveball. Threw it on the first pitch. Gave it to him on the last. See the 2 there from Cruz. You have nothing to lose with Jay Bruce from the left side coming up next. You still have the double play in order, even if you walk Johnny Gomes there. Johnny just way over aggressive.
So now Jay Bruce, a batter with a runner at third and 2 away in the inning. Reds still down 1-0. Try to get Jay to chase that pitch down and away from him. Bruce against left-handers, actually a higher batting average than he has against right-handers by 3 points. So really a wash.
Joey Votto very alert down there at third base for the ball to get by Tony Cruz. He's had some pretty good secondary leads. Anything in the dirt. These are the spots that we talk about time and time again, Tom. You get the runner to third base in less than 2 outs, you got to get him in.
It's been a category that for Bruce has been a major struggle. With runners in scoring position and 2 outs, his average is .205.
And really for the Reds this year, so far, with runners in scoring position and less than 2 outs, they still aren't getting that big hit.
And that's a tapper to the second baseman, which will end the inning. So the Reds get a leadoff double. They're now 4 for their last 26 with runners in scoring position and trail 1-0. Well, Reds fans, if you could use a nice wash and wax on the car, then log on right now to foxsportsohio.com or text SUMMER, SUMMER, to 37664. Standard texting rates do apply. It's all part of our 100 days of giving away prizes. The 100 days of summer sweepstakes presented by the Ohio Department of Public Safety. Now look at that, Cowboy. I can eat 10 dips of UDF, and I don't think the question is Cowboy capable of matching that number? There's no doubt about that. But through extensive trial after trial after trial, your contention is it is impossible to put any more than 8 scoops into the largest cup that they have on site. Correct?
That is correct. You can't get any more in the Big Boy Cup.
So like the big malt that you can get there, the biggest cup that they have, that's the one you're using, and you max out, in fact way over the top of maxing out, by getting 8 scoops of UDF ice cream in that cup.
It's really a scoop and a half that is above the lip level in the Big Boy Cup when I finish. So what do? Put it in your hand?
David Freese, Tony Cruz, and Jaime Garcia against Homer Bailey. A missed chance for the Reds in the bottom of the 4th inning after a leadoff double by Votto, who ends up stranded at 3rd.
You know, sometimes, Tom, you just got to get the card.
Three 3-0 the count on David Freese. Homer has only allowed 3 base hits. And the only run came on a solo home run by Lance Berkman on a 2-0 pitch to straightaway center field back in the 2nd inning. Well, that's a nice 3-1 pitch. That gives you an idea of the Bailey we saw in the last number of years as opposed to the healthy Homer Bailey here in 2011.
Well, I think the biggest issue for Homer now is he has taken the advice of Brian Price. And he is doing everything he can to make the hitter swing the bat at every count.
Fly ball to Jay Bruce, 1 out.
That's all the way back from 3-0.
All right, time to take a look at our AT&T trivia question today. Now make sure you understand the key word in this sentence is started. How many different shortstops started next to Joe Morgan during his tenure as a Cincinnati Red? And of course a great tenure it was from 72 through 79. How many different shortstops started? Now 20 different shortstops have played alongside Brandon Phillips, and you're only going back 5 years. 16 different shortstops have started next to Brandon Phillips. But how many for Joe Morgan? Two 2-0 on Tony Cruz. He struck out his first time up. 2 balls and a strike. Hey, we'd like to send out get well wishes today to Ted Power. You may remember Ted had a hip replaced a number of years ago. Well, apparently he fell down a couple of days ago and broke that hip. And so he's going to be on the shelf for a little while. I understand the Reds have summoned Tom Browning from Arizona to replace Ted Power as the Louisville pitching coach while Ted is recuperating. So Ted, we hope you're doing all right.
No kidding. See a lot more of that this day and age, Tom, because it's available. In years past, you didn't have a knee replacement. You didn't have the ability to replace a hip.
One on Tony Cruz, and there's a strike on the outside corner. A well located 93-mile-per-hour fastball. Pitch, and that's a walk to Cruz. First walk of the game by Homer Bailey, and that'll bring up Jaime Garcia.
Tried to overthrow that one a little bit, and whenever you're trying to throw the ball with a little bit of extra velocity, you've really got to ride that back leg a little bit longer. Otherwise, your arm gets up and down too quickly, and you throw the ball straight down into the ground, as we saw there. Got to really stay on that back leg and drive that back leg to the plate.
Perfectly bunted by Garcia. Votto came in aggressively to take a look at second base, and then nearly on one knee threw that ball away. That's a nice play by Phillips to come off the bag into foul ground.
Votto comes in awfully aggressive. He's thinking 2 all the time, but if he throws that ball, it's going to go right through the skull of Homer Bailey. But then the flat-footed throw was almost down the right field line. If you can't go to second, all you've got to do is rebalance your feet and make a correct throw.
It's a big at bat here in the ball game, with the Reds already trailing 1-0. We're in the 5th, and here's Schumacher. First pitch, breaking ball up and away. He singled into left field, his only time up.
And that was on a fastball that was middle in, and he shot it the other way.
Breaking ball that caught a piece of the plate this time to even the count on Schumacher, and a ball and a strike.
I think what he wanted to do there, Tom, was to get ahead with the curveball and then come back with the split finger. The split finger looks just like the fastball until it gets to the plate.
There it is. And then a throw down to second, and they have the runner caught. And tagged out at third base. Boy, Reds get a big-time break there. Poor base running by Cruz. And that'll send us to the bottom of the fifth inning in a 1-0 ball game. Next Friday night for Girls Night Out. Cheer on the Reds. They take on the Braves and stick around after the game for a Girls Just Want to Have Fun fireworks show. Thanks to Think CVG First. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com.
Swing and a miss. And I think that Tony Cruz was looking at a pitch that he thought was going down into the dirt and possibly a chance to advance an extra base. And Hannigan very aware right there, and he makes the perfect throw to second, and they end up executing a flawless rundown.
Well, the latter third, the Reds batting order coming up against Jaime Garcia here in the last of the fifth inning. Cairo, Hannigan, and then Homer Bailey. Each team has 3 base hits. And I'm not quite sure what's causing our delay in play here to get the inning started. Perhaps a fresh set of baseballs for the home plate umpire, Mike Everett. The Reds have left 3 runners in scoring position so far in the game today. Stubbs had a single to lead off the first inning, wound up stranded at second. There's a pop-up down the right field line by Garcia. And that is an easy out to begin this bottom of the fifth inning.
Well, you don't see that too much by Miguel Cairo. But that ball just ate him up. That cut fastball in on his hands. He sees it as a fastball out over the plate, which is the type of pitch that Cairo likes to swing at. But by the time he gets the bat there, the ball is right on top of his hands.
Talked about Stubbs in the first inning, wound up being stranded at second base. Stubbs had a 2-out double in the third and was stranded there. And then Votto, the one that really bites you right now, stings you anyway, is a leadoff double by Votto in the fourth inning. A fly ball got him to third. But then Garcia able to strike out Johnny Gomes for the second out of the inning and got Jay Booth on a little roller to second base. fly ball into right field of backup Berkman. And very quickly 2 up and 2 down here in the Reds' 5th inning with Homer Bailey coming up. And don't forget today after the game here on Fox Sports Ohio, it's Boys in the Hall, the personal stories of some of baseball's greatest legends. The feature today, Whitey Ford. It's presented by Subway, where winners eat. It will be a 6-pitch inning for Jaime Garcia. We move to the 6th inning. Cardinals lead 1-0.
In the Sun Deck today. And in the past, you heard of Aaron's Aces. Aaron Harang started the Aaron's Aces program, providing tickets to military members and their families to Sunday home games. Now, Jay Bruce, as Aaron Harang is with the Padres now, has taken over that program, and it's still called Aaron's Aces. And today, got a family around me and a very special guest here to my left, Jose Rolando Calderon. And you are on leave from Afghanistan right now, and you decided to take in a baseball game stationed at Fort Campbell. Put it in perspective, just being able to see a baseball game, how much does it mean to you?
It means a lot because we do a whole year out in Afghanistan, and to be able to share this moment with my family is special because thankfully Jay Bruce has been able to get this program going, and it means a lot to me to be able to take a little break from the hot desert and be able to enjoy this ball game with my family. It feels awesome.
And we're on the American Forces Network today, and we were just talking during the break. That's basically the only thing you get to watch, so some of your boys might be watching right now.
AFN is all we have, it's correct. So if my boys are out there, what's going on, guys? Get to work.
It's the middle of the night there. You think any of them are up right now?
Oh, definitely. They're up. We pull 24-hour operations out there, so they're up. They're up and working.
All right, now you grew up in California. Now you just told me that you had to explain to people that how is a California guy a Reds fan? You were a big Red Machine fan, right?
Big time. Yeah, we're going back to Pete Rose, Johnny Bench, Dave Concepcion. Yeah, just watching them and stuck with them through the early 70s and continued on. So here we are, finally make it out to Cincinnati, and I have had the opportunity to come watch them play in person.
That is awesome. Well, let me represent everyone at Fox Sports Ohio and everyone that's watching on the American Forces Network. God bless all of you. Stay safe. Thank you very, very much for your service. It is a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Tom and Jeff, doesn't get any better than this guy right here.
No, it does not. And so many like him. So many men and women who fight to help preserve all our freedoms all over the globe.
Well, if they didn't serve, we couldn't do what we're doing, that's for sure.
3-1 on Skip Schumacher, leading off the St. Louis 6th inning. It's in the air, short left field, and Johnny is there, 1 out. very, very impressive day for Mr. Homer Bailey.
Well, I had a pretty good feeling coming into this ball game that he would throw the ball well. His last 3 times out, he's thrown the ball well. He's just let one particular instance take him out of his game, and then he'd have a bad couple of batters, and then he'd be right back on it. Today, he hasn't let that affect him. He had the home run by Berkman back in the second. He came back with a fly out by Freese and punched out Tony Cruz. I think the thing that you see most of all from Homer Bailey is just his demeanor on the mound and the pitches that he delivers in certain counts.
But Cowboy, I thought you brought up a great point earlier. You know, today he has not faced quote unquote adversity in the game today. You know, you talked about a couple of plays that, you know, have happened to him in recent starts, and really it all began with that game you may remember in Baltimore. There's a liner that's run down by Stubbs when there was a pop up in the infield that was lost in the sun, if I remember right, by Joey Votto. And then Derek Lee hit a 3-run home run against him. Then the exact same thing basically happened the very next start. Defensive misplay behind him, could have been out of the inning, but allowed another 3-run home run.
And it happened the following ball game. But today, when the home run was hit by Lance Berkman, just didn't seem to sweat it a whole lot. Just came back and got the next 2 guys, and that's what you have to do.
Ball to the right side, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Bailey. Wow, has he been sharp. 3 hits, 1 run. But the offense has been shut out on 3 hits. We'll see if they can change that in the 6th. Now it's time for the Coors Light Freeze Can. The biggest play defensively, unquestionably, in this game, turned in by Colby Rasmus after a leadoff double by Votto. It came in the 4th inning. The very next batter, Brandon Phillips, drove him to the wall in straightaway center field. Brandon Votto tagged up and advanced on to 3rd, but if Rasmus is unable to handle that ball, you're talking prime time business for the Reds in that inning. And that's a Coors Light Freeze Can brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Drew Stubbs to lead things off. Stubbs has had a good day. He singled into center field in the 1st inning. He doubled into left center in the 3rd inning.
He has been on base 5 consecutive at-bats.
Hard hit ball, but right at Terrio. This is tough luck hitting right there by Stubbs. 1 out.
Dong.
We answer our AT&T trivia question. Go Morgan from 1972 to 1979, one of the most dominant players of all baseball, two-time MVP. Davey Concepcion leading the way. 7 of them started at shortstop from 72 to 79. Concepcion started nearly 900 games. The other 6 did not start 200 combined. Well, now you talk about staying power up the middle. That was as fine a shortstop second baseman combination as there has been in the history of the game. Concepcion and Morgan. All-star game after all-star game after all-star game. Gold gloves littered all over the field. And of course, from an offensive standpoint, Concepcion is such an underrated player. It's really almost beyond belief how little recognition he has received from the writers as far as the Hall of Fame goes, but he'll get it down the road. There's a base hit by Cozart, and he's aboard with 1 out in the inning.
How many games is that now?
Every game. 6 of them with a hit.
Just keeps right on coming.
And that's 9 total hits and 24 at bats for Cozart.
He wasn't waiting around to get rung up on a crummy pitch like he did last time.
Here's Votto. Strike 1. They'll get the out at second. And they do not. The shortstop Terrio comes off the bag, and he is right in the face of the second base umpire, Mike Muchlinski. And here comes Tony La Russa. And he's thrown out of the game as Terrio. And now Terrio is actually bumping and shoving the umpire, having to be held back. And you can mark it down. He will be suspended for a significant period of time for those actions.
Well, he bumped both of them. He got Muchlinski. Then he got somebody else. That's a double bump.
Well, let's take a look.
He's off the bag. Had the throw not been high, Tom, I think he would have called him out easily.
There's a bump by Terrio, immediately thrown out of the game. Another umpire steps in to try and separate him. And Terrio has his hands on that umpire, trying to maneuver around him. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. That could be a major league suspension there for Terrio.
That'll be Descalzo coming in his spot, I would imagine. There at shortstop.
Yep.
That's one of those plays that is almost considered the neighborhood play. But because of the throw being high and up and away from the bag, and Terrio having to reach for it, you get the safe call. Most shortstops come across that bag and they'll drag that foot along the back side or the left field side of the bag. Well, the second base umpire is not on that side of the bag. He is standing over by the second baseman. Biggest break the Reds have had today.
Brandon Phillips digging in. Phillips has struck out and flied out to deep center field. And here we are again, the Reds with a scoring chance to try and break through against Jaime Garcia. Descalso does indeed take over at short for the ejected and dejected Ryan Terrio.
you don't think this is a rivalry of massive proportions, you look at the temper that came from Ryan Theriot, normally calm, cool, and collected. Maybe he just snapped.
Reds are 4 out of 26 in the series with runners in scoring position. It's fouled out of play, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike on Brandon Phillips. And of course, the primary reason why the Reds won the Friday night game, the home run by Phillips, and that was not with a runner in scoring position. They got the double by Votto in the opener. Votto knocked in their lone run last night.
Zach Cozart was the batter that got the base hit with a couple of outs before Phillips went way back. Kept the rally alive. And he starts the rally here in the bottom of the 6th inning today.
You know, Cowboy, you talked about the rivalry, and it is so hard in baseball, unlike, say, football, even basketball, to gauge the, you know, sort of sense of urgency about a team in baseball. Is there any way that, you know, when you're looking at this Reds team right now, and this is a decisive game of this series, you've been lulled to sleep pretty much offensively the entire day outside of an at-bat here and an at-bat there. Do you have any sense about the sense of urgency for this Reds team understanding the importance of this game?
I think every single guy over there in that first base dugout knows that this is a monstrous opportunity that has just landed in their lap.
That pitch gets away, and both runners are going to advance, but are they saying strike 3? They are on Brandon Phillips. So that's a second out of the inning, and a wild pitch will advance Cozart to third and Votto to second.
Same pitch that Garcia has used from the get-go. That hard curveball straight over the top. Very difficult for the hitters to judge whether it's going to be in the strike zone or in the dirt. The pitch before Phillips fouled off. That pitch there, he could not check his swing.
Right now, Johnny Gomes given another chance. He was up there with Votto at third and only 1 out in the 4th inning, and Garcia struck him out. Now he stands at the plate with 2 outs in the inning and looks at a first pitch fastball that's on the inside corner, knee high for a strike.
And that may be the best pitch he gets.
That's that pitch we talked about earlier, that Garcia, not only against Reds batters but against hitters all over the league, he makes them look so bad, right-handed batters, on that pitch.
But somebody's been hitting Garcia on the road, because he's got a 5.67 earned run average. So it's not as though he is unhittable. But you know, Tom, we can probably rub this until it's sore on the tip of your nose. But the bottom line is the Reds have got to figure out how to put something together in these situations. Call it clutch, call it whatever you want.
And how about that? They tie the game on an errant pitch to the plate, and it is a 1-1 game. Take it any way you can get it.
You got that right. Throw another one back there.
2-2 on Johnny Gomes. And a bouncing ball to short. Fielded by Descalso, and he nearly threw it away. A pick by Pujols. So it takes an error and a couple of wild pitches, but the bottom line is at the end of 6, we're tied at 1.
Brought to you by AT&T. Cincinnati Children's ranks 3rd in the nation on U.S. News and World Report's Honor Roll for Best Children's Hospitals 2011. And by your Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com for current offers.
Well, a 1-1 game on this Sunday afternoon. The rubber game of this 3-game series. Reds won the opener on Friday night in dramatic fashion on the home run, the game-ending home run by Brandon Phillips. St. Louis comes back last night, falling behind 1-0. Got great starting pitching from Chris Carpenter and a 3-run home run by Albert Pujols in a 4-1 decision, and we're 1-1 as we open the 7th inning. Homer Bailey against Albert Pujols.
Biggest inning of the game for Homer Bailey right now, especially after the Reds take advantage of the mess that the Cardinals created, and he's got 3, 4, 5 at the plate.
In the air, short right center, and that's a big start for Bailey to take care of Albert Pujols. Of course, the Reds scored on, or were helped in large part thanks to an error by Skip Schumacher. It was not hung on Terrio. It was a poor throw by Schumacher, which pulled Terrio off the bag, allowing Cozart to slide in safely to second base, and then back-to-back wild pitches. Advanced Cozart on to third, and then Zach scored the tying run. You know, not only Cozart swinging the bat so well since being brought up from the minor leagues. We told you earlier 9 hits and 24 at bats. But 9 hits, Cowboy, and he's already scored 4 times. Generally, when he gets on, it seems like something's happened for an offense that, though statistically might lead the league in runs scored. For those of us that are fortunate enough to get paid to watch the Reds play every single day, it has been an offense that has run on 5th gear and an offense that sometimes is stuck in 1st gear.
Well, I firmly believe that the mix of young players and an addition like Cozart or an addition like Mesoraco or Alonso, it changes the perception of the guys that are already here. It makes you challenge yourself a little bit more. I mean, notice what Drew Stubbs has done here in the last couple of days. He's turned his game up. And the reason he's turned it up is because he's feeling competition all over the place. And to me, no matter what athletic event you are playing, competition for your spot makes you be the best you can be.
2-1 on Matt Holliday. And it's off the outside corner, so Bailey now has fallen behind 3 balls and a strike. Holliday struck out swinging in the 2nd inning. He singled into center field in the 4th. Second walk of the afternoon given up by Homer Bailey. Bailey has only thrown 75 pitches in the game. This has been by far and away his best pitch efficient outing among his now 9 starts so far this year. He's had some very good starts. I don't ever remember Bailey being in the 7th inning at the 75 pitch mark.
No, and especially with the fact that he's walked a couple of guys, because normally he's not walking, well, at least normally for this year, he's not walking anybody. He came into the ball game with only 10 walks.
Now Lance Berkman, the only batter to hurt him so far in the game. That was that solo home run to straightaway center field back in the 2nd inning.
That was a 2-0 breaking ball that just happened to, well, it was a cement mixer. It was just spinning up there.
One and 0 on Lance Berkman. Holliday a very short lead at first, and there's a little dribbler. That Votto will put the tag on Berkman, out number 2, and Holliday on to second base with David Freese coming up. Now obviously in a tie game, getting into the later innings, every at bat becomes so magnified.
And every pitch follows the same thought process. Freese loves to hit the ball the other way. And you've got Jay Bruce in right field. As a matter of fact, he shortened his stance just a couple of steps right as Freese came to the plate. Flat out to center and flat out to right, trying to drive the ball that way.
Holliday with a lead out at second base, and a pitch to Freese is lined into left, and Gomes is there. The inning is over. Woo. Ball hit hard by Freese, but Gomes able to climb the ladder to get it. Bruce, Cairo, Hannigan coming up in the bottom of the inning of a 1-1 game. And on Sundays, we keep it right here for the singing of God Bless America.
And at this time, please help us honor these brave men and women and all our veterans of service, and welcome jazz saxophonist Alan Trotman as he leads us in the playing and singing of God Bless America.
The Atlanta Braves and come to the ballpark early. If you're one of the first 30,000 fans, you'll take home a Johnny Gomes bobblehead thanks to Champion Window and Patio Rooms. 381 Reds at tickets or log on to Reds.com.
Bobblehead or bobble hand?
It's a good question. That hand will bobble the helmet up and down as Johnny Gomes does when he steps in the batter's box. And Jay Bruce to lead things off here in the inning in a first pitch swing and a pop up to Pujols, and that's one out in the inning. Well, there have been plenty of giveaway at bats here today, and that would be one of them. Well, out in the inning.
That's one of the reasons that Garcia is still in the ballgame here in the 7th. Normally, he is a 6-inning pitcher, and he's usually at the 100 pitch mark by the time he gets to the 6th inning.
Now Miguel Cairo stands in. Cairo, you may remember, swung at the first pitch, his first at bat, and fouled out down the right field line by Berkman. So a 1-1 game. Jaime Garcia closing in on the 90 pitch mark. He's roughly in the same neighborhood, a few more than Homer Bailey has thrown here today, and certainly Garcia has pitched more pressure innings in the game today. What with the Reds having 3 runners left in scoring position in 3 of the first 4 innings of the game. Cairo does not like that call by the home plate umpire Mike Everett.
Well, time was being called by Cairo, and he did not get it.
That one shot into right center field. It'll go to the wall. Cairo with a chance for 3 here perhaps, and he's going to turn it on and come to third. Here's a throw, and he is in there.
That'll show you not to let me have timeout.
In a 1-1 game, why not? And you could tell the way that ball started to roll on the grass and where they were positioned defensively that Cairo had a legitimate shot to get to third, and that he does.
Well, I think that when you look at the type of swing that Cairo has, when you try to pitch him really with any pitch down and away, that's the ball he covers the best. He's got a nice flat swing, and after home plate umpire Mike Everett not giving him timeout on the pitch before, I think he had a little bit of extra aggression in that swing. Looks like Jason Mott warming up down in the bullpen for the Cardinals.
Well, I'm not sure there's another player on this Reds team that you'd like to see with a runner at third and less than 2 men out than Ryan Hannigan. He is a guy that is very tough to strike out. He generally puts the ball in play. And you saw his numbers with a runner at third and less than 2 men out. It's not a surprise at all that Hannigan would be very, very good in those situations. Will he be that good again right here and right now to give the Reds a lead? Infield in.
Really seems to grind out the at-bats, and I think that is one of the reasons that he's able to do better in these types of situations.
You know, you really wonder, and you know that Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan are thinking about these things all the time when you look at what is behind Hannigan here. I mean, you have guys that can hurt you, but you have guys that do swing and miss. 1-0 the count on Ryan Hannigan. Garcia holds the ball for a long time.
That's the 3rd consecutive time that Garcia has forced Hannigan out of the box. And you and I were talking about this last night when Carpenter was on the mound. how much the Cardinals slow the game down when it gets to crunch time and they're on defense. They try to take the air out of the game and take the momentum away from you.
Good fastball on the inside corner there to Hannigan. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hannigan has bounced out to third and flied out to right. 1-1 pitch. Puts the ball in play, and he gives the Reds a 2-1 lead. How about Ryan Hannigan?
I hate to say that you expect it, Tom, but you really do when Hannigan's at the plate. I mean, he follows the same explanation that you gave there. He makes contact. That pitch ran away from him. He just saw a cut fastball in. That ball was hit right off the end of the bat, but yet he didn't overswing. He was trying to hit the ball up the middle, and he became successful.
Well, with a 2-1 lead batting here in the bottom of the 7th inning, Dusty Baker is going to allow Homer Bailey to bat. With 1 out, Bailey will be asked to advance a runner with a bunt. Are you a little bit surprised? Now, we know that Bailey's pitch count is very low in the game today. Barely over 80 pitches through the front 7 innings. But now with a 2-1 lead, are you surprised he's batting?
No, I'm not. Not with how he went through the 3, 4, 5 batters last inning. And I think what you're trying to do, if you're Dusty Baker, is you want 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, and you want Albert Pujols to be the last batter of the ball game.
Jeff is referring to 7, 8, 9 coming up in the Cardinal 8th inning. That means the catcher Cruz, a pinch hitter for the pitcher, and then the number 9 batter Skip Schumacher. 0-1 the count on Bailey, and he stabbed at it and missed it. He's behind 0-2. Triple here in the 7th inning by Miguel Cairo sets the stage for a run-scoring single by Hannigan. And the Reds have their first lead in this rubber game of this 3-game series here in the last of the 7th inning, a 2-1 game. They've scored in each of the last 2 innings, taking advantage of an error and 2 wild pitches to get on the board in the 6th before taking the lead on back-to-back hits here in the 7th. Showed bunt, pulled the bat back, fouls it away. There are lots of holes and lots of moving parts on that infield, with the Cardinals still expecting the bunt by Bailey.
That definitely surprised me there, and I think it surely surprised David Freese, because he could feel the wind off that swing because he was that close to Homer Bailey.
Comes up empty this time, so Bailey fails to advance the runner. It's 5 strikeouts in the game now for Jaime Garcia, and will Tony La Russa just leave Garcia in the game to face a guy who has hit the ball very hard 3 times against him today? They have the right-hander Jason Mott up, and he is ready in the bullpen. Stubbs has singled to center, doubled to left center, and hit a rocket right at the shortstop at the time, Theriot, in the 6th inning. Strike 1.
Well, the ball he hit to Theriot at shortstop was probably the hardest ball he's hit today. If he could elevate that ball to that same swing, might make these folks really get loud. Are you surprised that Homer didn't bunt with the 2 strikes and just stay with the bunt with the runner at first base?
You know, I'm not. He didn't look like he was comfortable at all up there bunting to me. I'd have been surprised if it were, say, a Leak or a Arroyo, somebody like that. You are surprised.
I am. Because I think that letting him swing there, you're giving yourself into a chance for a double play. You got a slow runner at first, and Bailey's not going to come out of the box full game.
But, you know, I've never been a fan, though, of the play, and I ask a lot of baseball guys about it, and they look at you like you have 3 heads, and everybody's entitled to an opinion. I've never been a fan of the bunt with 2 outs. I mean, with 1 out in the inning. Never been a fan at all. I just can't remember the last time, and of course you could make the argument that the reason you don't see it is because nobody's a dummy like you are, Tom, and thinking this way. I just can't remember the last time I saw a pitcher bounce into a double play.
Well, the thing that I was thinking more along the lines of is getting Homer Bailey back to the dugout.
Yeah.
The strikeout does the same thing.
3-1 now on Stubbs. I feel like Chris and I got into the debate one day last week about, you know, runner at third. Now, baseball people out there, whoever those people are in uniform, oftentimes it's just guys repeating themselves about, you know, whether or not you tag up on a fly ball when you're standing at second base, depending on how many outs it is. Blasted in the left. Is it fair? It is a foul ball. That's what you were talking about a minute ago. If he could elevate that thing.
Well, he's just seeing the ball so well today off of Garcia. And a lot of this comes back from staying with the game plan of driving the ball the other way. It allows you to just whip those hands through there on a ball that's hanging in the middle of the strike zone.
That ball is kissed. But foul.
And if you're Stubbs, you want to stay with your same plan. Shoot it the other way.
He's called out on strikes to end the inning, but Cairo a triple. Hannigan drives him in with a single. We go to the 8th with the Reds in front by a run. Blast of this game was way back in the 2nd inning. Straight away center field. Out by the CBTS pilot house.
An off-speed hanging breaking ball at 2-0. And when those pitches don't do a whole lot, if they don't move at all, those are the ones that get hammered.
Well, now the game is squarely in the hand of Homer Bailey. He has only thrown 78 pitches. The Reds have come back from that 1-0 deficit on the home run by Berkman to tie it in a 6th and take the lead in a 7th. And the day is over for Jaime Garcia. He pitches very well today. Does not walk a batter, allows 6 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned. And again, the Cardinal defense, and we've talked about it for 2 days, and you brought it up very early in the game today. It was a controversial play at second base, but at least according to the replays we saw, it looked like Terrio's toe was not on the bag on a forced play out at second base. And after that throwing error, which pulled him off the bag, given to Schumacher, Garcia threw a pair of wild pitches in the inning, which allowed the Reds to tie the game.
It's all about execution from here on out if you're Homer Bailey.
Tony Cruz leads things off. He has struck out, drawn a walk. One on a foul out of play. And of course, Cruz guilty of a base running blunder back in that 5th inning when they had Schumacher at the plate. They had bunted Cruz, who drew a 1-out walk over to second base. But then on a pitch to Schumacher, he had drifted too far off the bag. Ryan Hannigan fired to Cozart, who snuck in behind him. And they cut him down trying to advance to third. Bailey has only allowed 3 hits. Hit off the end of the bat, foul. The last Cardinal hit was a 2-out single by Holiday in the 4th inning.
As a catcher there, you want to go out and remind your pitcher it's the bottom of the order, but we want to still pitch. Yeah, the guy's late on your fastball, but you still got to make pitches. Use all of your pitches, keep the ball down, make them swing the bat.
0-2 again to Cruz, and it's up and away. Left-handed batting John Jay stands in the on-deck circle. He would bat for Garcia. And again, for those of you just joining us, the pitcher spot is a number 8 spot in the batting order today for the Cardinals. See you later.
Good breaking ball there from Homer Bailey. This one goes straight down. Not sure whether that's a split finger or a breaking ball. It appears to be the breaking ball, but it sure got Tony Cruz.
Well, we know how dangerous John Jay can be. We saw it in St. Louis. We see it in sporadic playing time over the last couple of years.
And that's exactly what is going on now with Ryan Hannigan. He may make a trip out there for every batter to remind him of the scouting report.
And this is a point in the game where managers, they have to make very tough decisions. You have a left-hander in the bullpen getting loose. You have a right-hander in the bullpen getting loose. You have a starting pitcher who has been as dominant as a pitcher can be without striking out 7, 8, 10, 12 batters at this point in the game so far.
And I think both of the guys in the bullpen are loose. I think they're both ready to go, both Bray and Massa.
Bailey has certainly earned the right to face Jay with a 1-run lead here in the 8th inning. Jay digging in, and Bailey to the plate. Pulled the string on him. Jay looking for a first pitch fastball and did not get it.
Well, that is an awfully good split finger. Come for the Reds, stay for more fun. Make it a weekend and book your discount hotel package at CincinnatiUSA.com.
0-1 on Jay. Came hard in and missed with a slider. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jay, a big part of the Cardinal offense last night in the start. 3 hits, knocked in a run, scored a run, had that bunt hit with 2 outs, nobody expecting it, to bring Pujols to the plate, who followed with a 3-run home run. 2-1 to Jay.
He's gone with split finger for a swing and miss, a slider in that Jay took, and that split finger there was in the dirt. And another split finger there. I think Hannigan hit his chest protector right at the last moment to say, throw me this for a strike. And he just held on to it a tad too long.
Well, you got to make Jay earn getting on base. I mean, he's a good hitter. Here's a 3-1. It's almost as though they pitched him a little scared there. I mean, this guy's a good hitter. He's not that good of a hitter, where he sees nothing but off-speed stuff the entire at bat.
Well, that may be all she wrote for Homer Bailey, because Dusty's heading to the mound.
Well, what an outstanding performance today by Bailey. In a game where his team has really needed a big outing, he delivered the goods. And they will stand and cheer Homer Bailey. In the 3rd innings, fans 4, walks 3, including the final batter he faces, John Jay, here in the 8th. Reds with a 2-1 lead, and our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen brings on the left-hander Bill Bray, and he will be facing a Cardinal pinch hitter for Skip Schumacher in Nick Punto. Bray against these Cardinals, his last couple of outings has been major hit or major miss. You may remember he came into the game on Friday night. He faced the guy he's facing right now, Punto, who batted for Schumacher then and for Schumacher now. And Punto had a hit. But somebody missed a sign, because Punto was thrown out trying to steal. Bray walked the next batter, Descalso, who, by the way, he would face next in the on-deck circle. But then yesterday, Bray came in and retired the only 2 batters he faced, Schumacher and Descalso.
Well, the Reds would be awfully fortunate if they could roll up a double play right here and have Descalso open up the 9th inning.
Of course, if we get to that 9th inning and it is the top of the Cardinal batting order, doesn't matter what part of the batting order is coming up. If the Reds have a lead in the 9th, it will be Francisco Cordero coming on from the Reds bullpen. That's a step up and do it start for Homer Bailey here today. Big league outing. Big league.
Threw the ball awfully well and did not let one negative issue enter his mind. He worked awfully well with Ryan Hannigan. I believe I'd keep Hannigan back there when Bailey's on the mound.
2 to count on Punto. Bray trying to put him away. And Punto up there battling after the first 2 pitches were strikes in the at bat. He has fouled off 3 in a row. And he just keeps pounding his Bray, that fastball in the outside corner.
Well, he got ahead with the fastball out there to make it 0-2. And he's starting to creep it off the plate a little bit, trying to get Punto to continue to chase out there.
Chased out there. He went out there perhaps once too many times, and that is shot into right field, and that's a base hit.
Looked like Bray dropped down a little bit, and that ball came back over the plate instead of running away from the plate.
Well, this is where the Reds need Bray to deliver the goods. You know, obviously they would love to have Chapman be able to come into a game like this with the stuff that he has and know that he's going to throw strikes, something he didn't do on Friday night. There's a fly ball into left field, and that'll be the second out of the inning. So now Bray has one more left-hander to beat. Or does he? Rasmus is being called back. And Tony La Russa is going to bat for Colby Rasmus, which would warrant perhaps a pitching change by the Reds, depending upon who is set up there to bat.
I would imagine it's Alan Craig. I think he is actually off the disabled list and back in a. Nope, it's going to be Yadier Molina. I forgot he wasn't starting.
Well, the Reds have Nick Massett ready to go in the bullpen. And I would believe this is a no-brainer for the manager, Dusty Baker. So Bray comes on as Dusty comes out. And Bray retires one of the 2 batters that he faces. Allows a hit, gets an out. And now the biggest at bat of the game is coming up. Reds with a 2-1 lead. 2 on, 2 out in the 8th. Massett v. Molina when we come back. they're 2 on with 2 out. Yadier Molina, very good numbers in 5 at bats against Nick Massett. He's also walked a couple of times. The home run was a grand slam, you may remember, on opening day 2 years ago, when on the first pitch of the at bat he had a grand slam down the right field line. But you were saying, Cowboy, as always with Molina,
be careful on the first pitch.
There you go. Meaning, what would you do? Give us something to look for here. If you're on the mound, what are you throwing him?
I would give him either the curveball or a very high fastball on the first pitch. Not necessarily a pitch to get ahead.
Molina batting for Colby Rasmus. Massett trying to slam the door here in the 8th inning. And the bat goes flying into the stands.
There's your high fastball. I don't think with the swing of Molina that he can catch up with the fastball that's upstairs. We saw him with Cueto. Ball up, ball running in, ball up, cutting away. He had a real difficult time with the ball, the fastball that is, up in the strike zone.
Well, a lot of the Cardinal players are making sure that a woman who was hit with that bat that came flying into the first row, I mean, she appears like she's going to be all right. Clearly, she very scared and shaken up, was struck somewhere with the bat that came into the stands. But obviously, our thoughts and prayers are with her that she's going to be okay. And she's moving around down there. She's sitting down, but moving her arms, moving her legs. She's awake. She's aware. Hopefully she's all right. That lady now is walking out with a bag of ice on the side of her head, but Cowboy looks like, good Lord willing, she's going to be all right.
Well, anytime you get the hit in the head this day and age, you got to go have it looked at, no matter what.
1-1 the count on Molina. Tying run at second. And a broken bat pop up. Phillips in the air to get it.
Why does it come down to these two? Ouch.
Seems like every night we're talking about Brandon Phillips. Literally played that ball in a short hop to get a double play early in the game. That was ending the third inning, and then this play right here, Cowboy. We take the guy for granted, at least I do. Well, he is a big league player, and that is a big league play.
And that play looked like it was just like somebody had just threw him a soft toss out there. But when you're on your toes, ready to charge the baseball, and the ball is a swinging jam shot over your head, your first movement normally is to turn and then go back. Well, Brandon ended up backpedaling, and backpedaling usually means death, and that's what normally happens to a second baseman. But because of the athleticism of Brandon Phillips, he was able to correct it quickly.
Tells you a little something about Tony Cruz. He's able to go out from behind the plate and then go play second base for you. John Jay remains in the game to play center field. Obviously, Molina stays in the catch. And now on the pitch is the rookie right-hander, Lance Lynn. Ball one to Zach Kozar.
He is from Marion County, Indiana. Brownsburg High School, Indiana.
That's right outside. That one driven down the left field line by Kozart, and that is a foul ball.
Oh, baby.
Talked about Lynn when we were in St. Louis. Brownsburg, if you're coming up I-74 from Cincinnati to Indy, if it isn't the last exit before you hit the Indianapolis city limits, it's
close.
Very close.
Well, these are two Ole Miss players going against each other. Lance Lynn, a graduate of Ole Miss, or he attended Ole Miss, and so did Zach Kozar.
Well, I would assume these two guys played together. What year did Lynn get drafted?
They did play together. This was back in 2007.
2-2 on Kozart. Zach was drafted in 2007. So there you have it. They were indeed teammates for the Rebels. You're a big Rebels guy.
Whatever with that.
2-2 on Kozart.
There's a little more going on right now between batter and pitcher than what we understand. I can remember facing Will Clark and Rafael Palmeiro, both my teammates at Mississippi State, and a little extra adrenaline jumped into my body.
Both of those players came from out of the state of Mississippi. We talked about Lynn from Indiana, and of course Kozart is from Tennessee.
Collierville High School, right outside of Memphis.
3-2 to Kozart. Fouled back out of play. Kozart had the one-out single. We talked about 9 hits in the major leagues, and now 4 runs scored for Kozart. It seems like when he gets on,
good things happen.
Things certainly have tended to have a lot more action. 3-2 now on Kozart. And there's action here. His first Major League home run. Got his old college teammate
You had to know there was a little more going on than just pitcher batter. You talk about the rivalry between these two. Well, there's nothing, and I mean nothing, like facing a former teammate. And Cozart comes up big right there.
Well, congratulations, Zach Cozart, on his first major league home run. Votto strikes out, and so now you have a 2-run lead, Cowboy, and certainly you can't have enough breathing room knowing who's coming up in the Cardinal ninth.
Look at that elbow drop right into the hip, and then the bottom half. He really uses the hips to guide his hands through the baseball, and he got some leverage on that baby. That's the kind of swing we saw many times in spring training this year.
Phillips. Reds with a 2-run lead here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And you know who's coming up in the top of the 9th. Pujols, Holiday, Berkman. And certainly the man trying to right the ship is the Reds closer Francisco Cordero, who up until that final road trip leading up to the All-Star break, by all accounts, was having a All-Star worthy season. In fact, if you buy into that whole whip thing, they use to statistically measure the effectiveness in a number of different combined categories. Walks, hits, innings pitched, that kind of thing. And the acronym WHIP is Cordero is better than all 6 of the relievers that wound up on the National League All-Star team. But having said all that, those are only numbers. And Cordero had 3 saved chances on the last road trip and blew all 3. And of course, it turns around really the way you feel about yourself at the All-Star break, as Phillips has gone on strikes. We've had a lot of what-ifs this season, Cowboy. If you win the 2 games that got away from you in Milwaukee, you win 3 out of 4. You're a game over 500. You're only 1 game back in the standings at the break. Instead of losing those 2, putting you 2 games under, and 3 back at the break.
Well, the thing for the Reds that they have done thus far today, they have come up with a big hit in a close ball game via Ryan Hannigan after the triple by Cairo. They have come up with an insurance run here in the bottom of the 8th inning by Zach Cozart. Now it's a matter of closing the ball game out. You almost wonder, with the way that Cozart has come up here, why not believe that Alonso and Mesoraco could not do the same thing?
There are many out there that would be in full concurrence. After the home run, Len, fans aside, but Zach Cozart will give Cordero a little bit more wiggle room. His first major league home run. We go to the 9th. Reds trying to win the series. saw just a moment ago from Zach Cozart to make it a 3-1 game. All right, here we go. Double switch made by Dusty Baker. Taking over in left field is Chris Heisey. So an outfield of Heisey, Stubbs, and Bruce. An infield of Cairo, Cozart, Phillips, and Votto. Hannigan behind the plate. And trying to pick up the save is Francisco Cordero. And he'll be going right through the heart, and it is a mighty big heart of this Cardinal batting order. Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman as the Reds try and win 2 of 3 against the National League Central Division leaders to begin the quote-unquote second half of this 2011 year. Of course, the last time Albert faced Cordero in this ballpark was at Sunday afternoon, where the Reds pulled off the 3-game sweep of the Cardinals back in May. And Cordero hit Pujols with a pitch, sparking a lot of yelling and screaming from that Cardinal dugout, primarily from backup catcher Gerald Laird and the pitching coach Dave Duncan. And then Cordero had a few words for them after he finished it off. 1-2 on Albert. Everybody standing right on the railing in that Cardinal third base side dugout as Pujols takes a monster cut on a 94-mile-per-hour fastball and fouls it straight back out of play.
It's a good pitch by Cordero here. Uncorks that baby up and in. Even Albert can't hit that pitch.
Off the end of the bat, this will be out number 1 here in the 9th.
That's the reason that you change the eye level of great hitters. You let them just look down, they can cover the whole plate. What Cordero did there, even though it was by mistake, is he changed the eye level of Albert Pujols on that pitch up and in, got him to swing at it, and then he makes a perfect pitch down and away with the slider, hits it right off the end of the bat.
Now Matt Holliday. Bouncing ball, foul, strike 1. Reds on the road for just a 3-game series beginning tomorrow night in Pittsburgh. Another team slightly in front of them in the National League Central Division standings. And then it's right back on the home front to open a 10-game stand on Friday night. 0-2 on Holiday.
Got away with one right there. Spinning breaking ball that stayed right in the heart of the strike zone. And Holiday was out in front just a little bit too much. That's when people talk about getting that foot down a little bit quicker, and he would have been right on that pitch. But he's looking for the fastball.
0-2 to Holiday. Fastball misses low and away. Holiday, 1 of 2, has struck out, singled, and walked. He does not have an extra base hit in this series. And he's out. And the Cardinals are down to their final out of the game.
Now you got to put the crowd out of your ears if you're Cordero.
Berkman 1 of 3, homered back in the second inning. That was the only run allowed by Reds pitching here today so far. And of course, Homer Bailey, the guy who, regardless of what happens here in the 9th inning, Or should we go any further than that? And we're hoping it's over here in a minute. But Homer Bailey, when his team has needed him the most on this Sunday afternoon, phenomenal. He stepped up and really gave you the goods. In the air left field, and boys and girls, this is going to do it. The Reds have beaten the Cardinals 2 out of 3. And an outstanding job by Francisco Cordero.
Great job by Cordero, but as you said, Tom, the major mark of a great pitcher is taking the ball when your team needs it most and giving them everything you've got. And that is exactly what Homer Bailey did today. That is big time pitching, my friend.